Hello everyone and welcome to this POV review by AutoTopNL. My name is Max and there's Martijn. We are taking a look today at this very cool Mercedes-AMG GTC Roadster. So, let's just do a walk around. We have the top up right now. And let me start by saying that I was a bit confused when Mercedes came out with this car. Because we had the GT, the GTS as a coupe, then came the GTR, the sort of hardcore track version of the GT. And then suddenly they came with the GTC. And I thought, well, C stands for convertible, because they started with a convertible. Now you can get the GT and the GTC as a roadster. So the C, this GTC, is sort of in between the GTR and the GTS. So you get a couple of cool hardware goodies from the GTR, like that insanely cool grille, the AMG Pan America grille with those very aggressive things, and oh my god, it just looks so nice. It's also 44 millimeters wider in the rear, the track. So that's also from the GTR. It's 5.7 centimeters wider as a whole at the back. So the wheel arches are a lot wider. You get a different rear bumper with these little thingies and this sort of air spoiler or whatever it is. We can't figure out where this air is coming from. So perhaps it's coming from the sides or from beneath, I don't know. And of course the spoiler. And it just looks so mean, especially in this matte gray. So let's open the top. Which goes very quickly. Just 11 seconds for this roof to go down. There it is. And windows up, but we are going to put those down. Yep. So now let's take a look at it with the top down. I mean, this looks so cool. It's so nice, and it really resembles the old SLS AMG with that very short and flat rear end and that hood, that front end that just goes on for ages. And that's a really cool feeling when you sit behind the wheel and you have that long bonnet in front of you. We also have carbon ceramic brakes, which I'm very happy about, because we are also taking it to the Autobahn, of course. So if you're interested in the Autobahn video, the POV, the acceleration, you can subscribe by clicking on the little icon in the bottom right corner. But you can also wait, because I will take this to the Autobahn later on in this video as well. So when it comes to the spec, as I said, that matte gray, very cool, with this lovely light beige interior, Alcantara steering wheel, some carbon fiber bits, really cool. Another feature of the AMG GTC is that you get the AMG performance exhaust as standard. So let me just rev it for you and start it up. So that's already very nice, of course, but this is comfort. So valves are closed. Very nice V8 sound already. Let's switch to race. Everything opens up. And those are some loud pops and bangs. Hey, that's a Lotus Esprit. Very cool. So it does those bangs and stuff on the overrun. On the upshift you get a really nice bang. Downshifts, of course. And especially with that top down, it's really great. So let's take it for a drive. Oh, and we also have this carbon fiber right here, which I think looks very cool. So let's go for a drive. So let's start in comfort mode and just cruise around a little bit at first, because you know this is a Gran Turismo. We should be able to have a relaxing drive, because you know this is a GTC. As I said, it has some bits from the GTR, and that also means that it's a bit harder and firmer than a GTS. So is that still a good setup for a GT, for a Gran Turismo? You would think not, right? You would think that for a Gran Turismo you'd want some more supple damping and springs and just be able to cruise around like this. But that's not what Mercedes has in mind for you if you buy a GTC, because it's between the R and the S. You know, it's a bit more powerful than the S. It has 558 horsepower compared to the 510 of the GTS, and it's not as much as the 600 plus GTR has. The four-wheel steering, for instance, from a GTR, which steer against the direction of the front wheels up to 100 kilometers an hour, and they steer in the same direction. They steer with the front wheels at higher speeds for better stability at high speeds. So there's a lot of serious hardware. It also has the differential from a GTR, so something which is really strange and really cool. When I put it in race, everything sharpens up and the ESP system goes into sport mode, so it should be a bit more forgiving and let me play around a little bit. But here's the deal: at 4,000 RPM, first gear, full throttle, there's just grip everywhere. I mean, the same thing happens when you do that in a corner. It just grips and grips and grips. So the biggest thing about this GTC for me is the sound, of course. With that roof down, I mean, those downshifts, those crackles, those pops from the exhaust are so loud and they are so nice. That double clutch gearbox is super quick, really fast. And especially when you are at full throttle, the shifts are really lightning quick. Let me demonstrate. Bam! Now this is, it's instant. Really nice. It actually does 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in 3.7 seconds, and the top speed is 316 kilometers an hour. So of course we are going to test that out on the Autobahn later. But let me demonstrate to you what 3.7 seconds to 100 kilometers an hour looks like. There's a new launch control system. We know it from the E63S. Just foot on the brake, full throttle if you're in Sport Plus or race mode. And that's it. And it does have some trouble with traction at the initial launch. So let me just try something here, because I should be able to lower the amount of RPM with a pull on the downshift pedal. So launch control. And it does seem to hook up a bit better, because the lower RPM, yeah, means it's less sensitive for wheel spin. So let me just demonstrate what happens when you switch off the traction control altogether and unleash everything this car has on its rear wheels from a standstill. That's wheel spin up up until third gear. Some nice black marks on the road to let people know AutoTop was here. But this is a totally different story. As I said, that AMG GTR differential means that it just puts the power down so well once you get going. And that must be one of the most impressive things about this car. The way this puts down the power, it's so much power, and you know, you are sitting practically on top of the rear axle here, and you just feel that ass moving around and just, you know, putting that power down. You just feel it happening, which is really, really cool. So it's a bit wet here. Let's do yeah, it's a really fun car, especially on roads like this. You know, you can really go through those gears, brake, shift down, go for it, brake, shift down, hear those crackles. But to be able to use this car's full potential, we will take it to the Autobahn, so let's go. So that was 0 to 300 kilometers an hour in the Mercedes-AMG GTC Roadster. As you could see, not that big of a deal. It does it so easily. It's just that V8 is so relentless. It just keeps going, and you get sort of, you expect it to be less and less the higher speed you reach, but instead it just keeps going at the same rate, which is just so impressive. And I mean, all these 4-liter bi-turbo AMG engines have that, oh my god, that sound. So I did that Autobahn run with the suspension on its sportiest setting, and that means it's quite firm and quite hard. And because your steering feel is quite direct, it's very responsive, and that means you do get some nervousness at high speeds, and especially when the road surface isn't perfect like it is on this side. So let's just switch the suspension to its softest setting. Everything else is in race mode. That's something I really love about these AMGs, is that you can adjust everything separately. So I can just have everything in race mode and the suspension in comfort. And that means it's just a bit more forgiving on those bumps. It's a bit more civilized, it's a bit more poised, but still very firm, and or firm enough. So we have a couple of bumps here, there we go, and another one. It just copes with them really well. That's 300 again, 3.1, 3.2, 3.3, 3.4. So Something I do notice while doing this is that it gets very, very loud in here, in this cabin. I really have the feeling I have to shout to you for you to be able to understand me. So I don't know if that's the roof, or I have the feeling it's coming from the tires as well. So that's not really sort of Gran Turismo, because that would be very annoying for longer distances. But that power really, it never bores. And those downshifts with those crackles, man, that is really lovely. So the AMG GTS has 510 horsepower, this has 558 horsepower. So it's not even that much more, but it does feel a lot beefier, and wow. And that performance exhaust is a must-have, as are the carbon ceramic brakes which this car has. You know, especially on the Autobahn, it's really nice to have that, to be able to lean on those, and that insane stopping power. So in the end, we are driving a roadster today, and you have the choice, as I said, between a GT, a GTS, a GTC and a GTR. So the GTC sits between the S and the R. It's a more performance-oriented version of the GTS, so you get some hardware from the R. But that doesn't really stroke for me. I think a roadster should be more about comfort and about lazy driving and that great soundtrack. So I would be just as happy with a GT or a GTS with that performance exhaust. But if you want a coupe, I think this GTC really is the sweet spot, because you get that hardware, you get that wider track, those wide arches, that very cool rear bumper, that exhaust as standard. So a coupe GTC would be the one for me. So let us know, guys, which one would you choose? We're really interested. I'm going to end it here. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. You can subscribe by clicking on the little icon in the bottom right corner, and you can follow us on social media. Just search for AutoTopNL. Thanks, guys. Bye.